Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to the Quack podcast. I'm your host, Spidercides, and here with me for our 20th guest is none other than Vincent. Vincent, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on for the 20th episode. This was supposed to be Mackleby, wasn't it? And not
Yeah,
Mackleby.
yeah, yeah. No, it was actually Maccabee was supposed to be on every single one of them, but he kept denying it, but jokes aside, no, I'm very happy that you're our 20th. You know what I mean? I know I've asked you a few times in the past, actually when I started out, and I'm glad you've come around and we're gonna get to know each other.
Yeah, sounds good.
Now, first things off, for everyone in the chat, everyone watching this live on YouTube, thank you so much for sticking around and getting to know our guests and listening to me speak for a long period of time. I know we're gonna dive in and talk about how Vincent watched every single Quack podcast episode, and he said it was over. What did he say? Over 30 hours?
It's 31 hours.
That
31
is
hours and like
insane.
15 minutes.
Unbelievable. So we'll dissect that later in this podcast. But for everyone, if there's any sound quality issues, be sure to let us know in the chat. But more so than anything, if you have any questions for Vincent throughout the podcast episode, feel free to place it in the chat. Now, I can't promise we'll read out everything, but if there are any key questions that I notice, I'll be sure to ask Vincent. But before we go into that stuff, let's get to know who Vincent is. So, Vincent, tell us about yourself and maybe tell us when you started playing Habbo in general.
So, my name is Vincent. I'm from New Zealand, which some people loop us into Australia, but we are actually a separate country. I started playing Habbo way back when, I think it was December 2003, because I recall there being the Lapland greetings in the catalog as a rare, and this was the UK hotel. I then transitioned over to Habbo Australia when that launched in 2004, but still playing on UK from time to time because I had Fernie on there, and so I was kind of bridging the gap between the two. I stopped playing around like 2007, 2008, and then I there was the whole crypto thing was happening around 2020, right? So
Hmm.
I was like, oh, I saw these Habbo NFT things happening, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I haven't thought about Habbo in so many years now. So in 2022, I ended up purchasing one Habbo avatar just to dip my toe in, just to
Nice,
see what it was
nice.
like. Went back onto Habbo.com and just like rediscovered the rooms that I had there. And then it was, I also joined the server as well, the Discord server for the Habbo collectibles. And then it was, I think, a day before they were about to release. I was like, oh, I should probably check what's happening. And then I check it, and they're like, oh, this new version of Habbo is coming out. Habbo Origins is coming out tomorrow. They didn't give a time, so I was like waiting. I was like, okay, clear the schedule. We're waiting. We want to get the username Vincent. We want a cool username because my first ever username. This was 2003. I learned about Habbo from someone at school. There was one person at school, and we didn't really talk, but she told me about this game called Habbo. No one really in New Zealand played Habbo. I think that's different from maybe the UK. I think the UK people were playing it and they were sharing it in school and stuff. But I joined with the username Da Devil, and I thought I was so cool. I was like, Da Devil. Yeah, and I was trying to
Nice.
get The Devil, but it was Da Devil, and I couldn't even get like it with no hyphens or apostrophes or anything. So it was like Da underscore 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 devil.
Oh my
Um,
God.
and I had like the green like spiky hair, and I looked so cool at the time when I was like 13.
Amazing. Yeah,
Um,
so before you get onto that, the Vincent username, like like did were you trying it over and over? Like you kept refreshing Origins website so
oh
that
yeah,
way you can
because
get it?
Yeah, so obviously there was the whole one-time password thing that you had to enter
Oh
to
yeah.
kind of confirm that. And like it said, like you signed in, it would say it would send you a one-time password and it wouldn't arrive for a good like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that email said like this code is only valid for 10 minutes. And you're like, well, this I've got it after. How does this work? But eventually I got it. I was very happy because I like a clean username.
Oh, brother, I agree with you because my original username was colon Latino colon, right? And I hate the
Mm,
dots. By the way, no hate to anyone that has dots or colons or exclamation points in their username. I'm just not a fan. I like a clean username as well, like you do, Vincent. I wanted something like that felt like I got it first. You know what I mean? Like you're
yeah,
clearly
yeah.
the first Vincent, right? So when you add like the other, symbols, you're like, well, you're kind of not the original one, right?
I mean,
So,
especially with colon Latino colon,
hmm,
when you type, there's another colon after that.
true. Yeah, that's valid. Yep, 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 yep,
Yeah.
yep. I hated it. So when I started that in the beginning, I ended up going, wait a minute. I've always been Spidercides with my social media over the years, all my gaming content. I'm like, you know what? I'm switching over. And then I got them to change. They transferred my creator stuff over to Spidercides, and I was like, all right,
Oh,
I'm
nice.
sticking with this. Everyone can call me Spider, because then the Latino one, the one that bothered me was like, with your name, everyone knows you're Vincent, but with Latino, everyone's like, are you Latino? And I'm just like, no,
Right.
I'm not that person. And yes, I'm actually a Latino. Oh, you could speak. Yes, I can speak those languages, but no, I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Just
Canadian.
comes
And
with
it
a
was
bunch
just
of
it's
questions.
just too many. It's just too many questions in general. And I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going back. That way they can be like, are you a real spider? Yes. You know what? I am a real talking
Yes.
spider. So, but that's awesome. So you said 2003 is when you really heard about and stuck with the game. Did you continue to play from that point, or did you take a break in
Yeah,
between
so I
years?
played for from like 2003 to around 2008 because that's when I graduated from high school. And then I think after that I was like, I'm not playing this game. This game is for teens. I'm now at university. Um, and so yeah, I played quite religiously for that period of time. Left for a little bit. I came back around 2020, sorry, 2013 to 14. I played for like about 2 years there and played on modern and I mainly played with the wired stuff
Okay.
because and I played with making games and making events. I don't know why, but I felt like I didn't really connect with people at that time within the hotel. I was like whether it was the age difference or I couldn't find my people there, so I mainly stuck with doing solo gaming, I guess, and making games and seeing how Wired works and all of that.
Okay. And then when it came to Wired itself, I know right now Wired in the game is so unreal. Have you dabbled at all like recently, or did you just like
No, I
stop?
have no, yeah. So I think when I was playing, it was the first version of Wired that came out, and it
Gotcha.
was very basic. It was like when you step on this thing, a door would open. When you would, the conditions of you had to be on a certain tile and say a certain word for something to happen, you would teleport to somewhere else. Even that, I feel like is quite overwhelming for a Origins audience still. But that was what Wired was in the beginning.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, when I stuck around in the beginning, I played like I would always join in every year for a little bit. I never played as consistently. I would say I want to say from 2015 to maybe 2021. I would say, but between those years, I would always go in, and I was always admiring the wired furniture rooms that people created. I don't know if you remember Flappy Bird. Remember that game?
Yeah,
But there was that
yeah.
wired version in the hotel, and I would play that like nonstop. So although I think it's overwhelming for Origins, I do like that there at least is a version of that somewhere where you can kind of just see what people can do, because it's absolutely insane at times.
That's the thing, right? I think this Habbo.com as well as Roblox, I think, and Minecraft are kind of worlds that you can build games within them, and I think that's really really neat, especially for someone who like doesn't know programming and can't make a fully working game to release on Steam, for example, you
Right.
can jump into Habbo.com and start to mess around with just the logic of these wired boxes and create something really cool. And I think that's where they wanted to push it. And I don't know whether I think they're expanding on the wired Fernie currently with payments, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I haven't read too much into it because that article was so long, and I was busy at
Yeah,
work. But
yeah.
I was just reading it. I was like, oh my god, and I kept scrolling. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna read this later on the weekend.
Later time. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm very curious of that. But obviously, for anyone listening, don't worry. Maccabee has confirmed Wired or any version of Wired is not coming to Origins, and I'm sure we'll dabble into what the functional Fernie is all about later. But before we get on to the other topic, there, over the years of you playing Habbo and you stuck around for a bit and then took a break here and there, what was your favorite thing back then? Like, what was the thing that you still remember to this moment? You're like, wow, like that was sick. I will never let that go. That is a memory.
I created a really cool like event room. And this is a little bit of a story that touches me. I created a really cool event room, and they were running a they put an article up. They were like, we're looking for really cool events to host over the New Year's period from like the 30th of December until like the 2nd of Jan. And I was like, okay, sure, I can do this. So I created this amazing room. It was like a cooperative, wired, space themed adventure sort of room. Um, and so I created it, I sent it in, submitted it in, and I was like, I got a reply back, and the reply was like, fantastic, we're going to feature you on the homepage on the
Wow.
1st of January. And I was like, yes, this is my time. I've made it. Um, 30th came, 31st came, the first came, nothing happened. Second
Oh.
happened, and I was like, oh God, what happened? And then I emailed in, and they sent me an email back. They were like, I'm so sorry. We didn't have any staff on this. We forgot to do it. I apologize, but we'll send you something. I log into Habbo, and there's a gift there. Drop it down. It's from Lost Witness, the hotel manager at the time, and it was like, we're so sorry. I opened it up. It's a throne. And I
Oh,
was like, oh
wow.
God, yes, a throne. Like a throne that I've been working trying so hard to trade up towards. And then little
Wow.
did I know that in like 12 months it got scammed from me. But we don't talk about that. We won't
Oh
talk about
no, we
that.
won't talk about that. No, that's wow, that's a good story. At first, it's funny when you were explaining it. The first thought to my mind is, oh wow, even after 20 years, Sulake hasn't changed. Like they're still the same team. They haven't changed clearly, but they have changed. Where they back then they actually gave you something if they messed up.
Yeah, yeah,
In,
yeah.
in these cases, sometimes they'll take things away. But jokes aside, that's pretty cool that you got a throne. That is, I could. It's funny. Back in the day, I would have pictures or screenshots or even videos from like my game experiences. I wish I kept those moments. You know what I mean? So we could always like look back. Do you have anything
Oh
from
God.
back in the day that you've ever kept that you're like, wow, I can look back in this like inbox and remember these moments?
I just wish I still had like my old hard drive that had screenshots from but way back then. Um, I luckily like some of the screenshots I did have, I have in my Gmail. So I've got a
Nice.
couple of screenshots of me and my brother and my sister were relatively close, and we would often do Habbo mazes together. And
Okay.
so I have a couple of screenshots of us like in room number 83 of some
Oh
very, very
wow.
long maze from 2005, for example. And so those ones there I remember fondly. But I also have, I guess, a couple of competition entries that I've sent in. I think I did a pixel version of Dumbledore for some competition.
Oh nice.
There was also like a Black Eyed Peas competition. I think we had to sing a song and I had to submit lyrics for it.
Wow.
So that Yeah, those ones there are in my inbox for me to remember.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember these moments, and I just go, damn, like it's like that one moment you're like, I wish technology was at where it is now back then, so that way we could have like have things in the cloud or have those moments
Yeah,
like never forgotten. Because right now, all your moments in Origins, all your moments in Modern, if you go on, like it's there, like it's going to be in the cloud because you're posting it on Discord or Twitter or wherever else. So our memories are kind of locked in that cloud experience, so that way we can never forget. But that's pretty sweet. And then you mentioned you played with your siblings as well, so I guess you had a bit of that family dynamic, you know what I mean, to kind of just enrich that experience a little bit. Now, in terms of mazes, you mentioned you were taking part in this 83 room maze, and you're at that 83rd room. Is that
yeah. We
where, like,
clicked
is
on the
that where?
door. Did you know that?
Oh
I clicked
yeah.
on the door
Yeah.
in the 83rd, and I had to go all the way back to the beginning.
Oh my god.
And I was
Wow.
like, guys, keep going. Like, I'm not gonna catch up. Keep going.
Oh my goodness. But with mazes, was that like, because you're obviously into mazes right now, clearly, with all that you
Yeah.
do. What's your itch? Like, why do you like it? Like, what about it do you enjoy?
I think it's a very special niche, and I think obviously it's not for everyone. We've hosted enough maze events on Origins that we know it's not for everyone. Um, I think it is very much like a puzzle to me. And I hoped that with the Steam release we might get more mazes in, but I think it's essentially it's a game within a game, right? These mazes are essentially a puzzle game within the guise of a chat room, and I think it's not very easy to advertise that to because
True.
I was thinking like there are so many people who play puzzle games on Steam, and they might enjoy mazes, but to get them in the door is quite a task.
Right.
But what I find with mazes is it's very much a puzzle game. It's deduction essentially. You're trying to make your way from one space to the teleporter on the other side of the room. There's no luck involved, right? There's no luck involved. It is you're clicking on essentially the tiles at the bottom, and things that are placed in front of those tiles make it difficult or usables like a mocker or a fridge allow you to move onto that tile where you couldn't normally if it was covered by a blocking ferny. And so for me it's very like meditative or relaxing in a way to kind of like just spend a bit of time, jump into a maze, and then just slowly work my way through it. I think that's the appeal for me.
Okay. And then in terms of that, I'm guessing you also love the challenge of it, right? Like, do you like
Yeah.
a maze that it's like impossible, like where only, no, not impossible, but let's say only 5% of people can complete? Or are you into more of that, like maybe 50% of people can complete it? Like, where do you land in between that?
I think there are. I think there's a whole art to maze creation, and I think often the people who do make these really hard mazes, they make it like you say almost impossible, but it often isn't fun. And I think there's a way of like setting out a maze room in which you know which way you're going and you know the path you need to take, but it's how to achieve that path. And sometimes you do subvert that by making it by blocking it off and having a secret route that goes around the back. But I would say like somewhere between maybe the 10% of people, or 15 to 20, 10% of people can complete it is my sweet spot of like
Okay.
difficulty.
Okay, not too bad. Yeah, I think like you watched me on the other day. I was trying to do a
Yeah.
maze. I was struggling, man. I was struggling. I was just like, where am I clicking? Because I learned. I think it was when you were no, I think it was in my stream. No, it was your stream when I was watching you. That parts of a Fernie item you can actually click through, that there's some
Mm,
like empty spots, and I was just like, oh, like I didn't know. Like you were showing the smoke machine, for example, and like on
yeah.
the bottom of the smoke machine is like clickable where you can go behind it, but on the other parts you won't move behind it. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like how certain parts you can take advantage of in a maze, for example.
And that stuff isn't known to the average Habbo,
No,
which is a bit strange. And it makes introducing a maze to a normal Habbo player quite difficult. Because they don't know. I think they instinctually learn things as you play, right? You know, you can't when you click on a fridge, you're not moving to the space behind it.
right?
You're moving to the front of it, and those things are like behavior things that I think like we've picked up over many years of playing Habbo. But for someone brand new coming to Origins, good luck. Like they have no chance.
Yeah, and I think that's a challenge too because it's also not only getting in the door, you gotta have the time investment, right?
Yeah,
And in some cases, there's no checkpoints, right? So it's kind of like you have to
yeah,
basically commit to it and essentially get to the end or be happy of where you're ending so that way you can, do whatever else you have to do, whether it's eating dinner or just going out, right? So it's an interesting one. Like I've done many different or participated in many different mazes myself. And I think I did the one, I think the one I completed, I think is the one in I forgot what it was called. I think it's the one with that has the info bus in the room. I
oh
think it was
yeah.
that
Okay,
one.
that was
I
the collab anniversary maze.
Yes, I believe it's that one that I completed. Because when I saw that room, I'm like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. Like that was easily one of the coolest, like quote unquote public rooms in a guest room inspiration. So I was like, yeah, I want to check this out, right? So I think that was my thing. And then obviously the most classic is the telemazes, which Dovak is obviously known for.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously you're into more ferny mazes. What do you think of telemazes?
I don't like the luck aspect of it. I think, and especially when it's. I mean, I know when I did some of those telemazes, and I feel like to get an advantage on those, it's strange. You have to work as a group, and you need a group of people who are willing to jump into a Discord group together and share information about like okay, because you have more chance of like finding the right tele.
Right.
So I thought that was quite interesting and added another layer to a telemaze, which I wouldn't normally have thought of initially. Um, but yeah, I'd much prefer a Fernie maze over a telemaze.
Yeah, I think with Dovax, the fact that every room was the same and then like the room name
Yeah,
never changed, I think that was the level of difficulty that maybe some people are always like, oh wait, I'm never gonna beat this. But I've always liked those ones because it's once you do beat it, you're like, oh my god, I actually pulled that off, right? Because it
yeah,
also comes down to although it's a luck base in the beginning, and for most part throughout the maze, in some cases you do have to remember where you're going, right? You do have to understand the
yeah.
pathways and add that skill into the experience as much as possible. But that is yeah, that is the big differences between the two as well, because with a Fernie maze, it's smaller base in terms of how many people can be in the room, right? Whereas a
Yes.
tele maze, you could have 100 people running in and out and going through the whole experience. So I think both of them have their pros and cons for sure. Now, in terms of a Fernie maze, quote unquote, not really a maze, but it kind of looks like a maze at first, is your hidden treasure experience,
Yeah.
right? Because at first it kind of looks like you're going and you're trying to dissect this room and move space to space and get to that ductile at the end. But could you talk more about the hidden treasure and your experience and how that came to life?
Okay, so Hidden Treasure was a game that I initially came up with last September. I did a version one of it. I was like, let's keep it really simple. Let's see if people want to play this game because I come up with a lot of game ideas. My previous job, I was a game designer for a startup in London. So I'm very much game design minded, and so I test a lot of ideas. And especially when coming up with a brand new idea, you want to make sure that you test it first to see if people actually enjoy it before you invest more time and more money into it. So I came up with an idea called Hidden Treasure. This was September last year, and the idea was simple. It was a race. It was a race between the players to find the treasure tile. Whoever finds it first wins. And basically, what I did was I got the horizon beach layout, and I just put one like treasure tile. I think at that time I used the Walk of Fame Habbo wood tile, and then I stacked a bunch of other tiles on top of that, like the marble tile, the black tile, the orange tiles. Just stacked it up, and it was a turn-based game. One by one, you would enter the beach and you would dig. You would get two digs, and then you would leave and join the back of the queue. So that was the initial concept, but I wanted to make it more strategic. So I introduced another set of rooms called the jungle rooms, and you could go into the jungle rooms and find clues. So the clue you might come across a clue that was like, oh, the treasure tile is close to water. So then when you came back onto the beach, you had a little bit of an advantage. You saw other people digging far away from the water, and you're like, but I know it's close to the water because of the clue that I found hidden within the jungle. And so that was version one of the game. From there, I've kind of expanded it even more. Now you have items that you're finding in the jungle rooms that you're entering on a website. That website is keeping track of all the items you've collected. You can transfer those items to friends who are also playing the game at the same time. You can also craft items. I've also introduced audio clues. It's kind of like steamrolled into something like much bigger. And I ran this literally like 2 hours ago, and I think everyone had a good time. Formulated Mess was the winner of that one and won 200
Nice.
habloons.
Ooh,
But
okay.
yeah, that was the evolution kind of.
That's pretty cool. That's an awesome idea. I like how I watched it the other day. I think I was watching Toys One, and I think Fizz was playing in there as well. And
Yeah,
I was watching that one, and I think I saw Fizz like digging, or no, sorry, cutting through a pineapple. And in a way, it kind of felt like Pokemon. In a way, like I was just like
yeah,
watching
yeah.
the people like make a move, like cut tree, and then you're cutting the tree, and then you're getting wood, and you're getting an item out of it. It was kind of cool just to see that dissect literally live on stream and seeing how the website's incorporated. So I personally love what you put together. And what's your goal for the future? Not to make you leak anything for the future, but
Mm.
what's your next vision? What's your dream next to grow this game?
So obviously, with these games, I'm also introducing aspects of it where you can carry it over to the next game.
Mhm.
So, for example, in this last game, people found these ancient coins that were represented by habloons, bronze habloons. After that, after the game ends, I'm sending everyone trophies, kind of like the Pokemon kind of trophies that we had way back when. Not way back
Okay.
when. Sorry, it wasn't that long ago. Um, and so they can use those in future games. So I think I am continuing to iterate on this. But what I ultimately want to do is, with this website and the framework that I've got going on here, I'd like to create. Essentially, it's kind of like a maze, but it's like a permanent sort of like thing, a story that people can kind of enter and explore and do with friends, but it's not hosted by anyone. So
Okay.
imagine it's kind of like a haunted house, and you, for example, and maybe Dovak decide, hey, this evening we're going to go explore. I think my name for it at the moment is Mirage Estate. It's a haunted estate out in the Wop Wops. So you and Dovak can like decide, hey, for the next couple of hours we're going to try out Mirage Estate, and you two can go in there and you can explore it and you can discover the stories. And I want it to be very story heavy and more kind of like an adventure game, more so than a competition.
Okay. Okay. And does that involve teamwork, or is it still solo driven?
I would want it to involve teamwork. Yeah,
Cool.
I
That actually
love I
sounds pretty
love
cool.
cooperative games, cooperative board games. I like what you've done with what is it called, Chaos Run.
Oh yeah, that was Chaos
Yeah,
Races, I think it is.
Chaos Races. That's
Chaos
it.
Races. Oh, that one is. That's a fun one. That's a fun one.
It's funny. It's fun
Yeah.
to watch as well
Yes,
because
that's a
you
good one.
see
Yeah.
people yeet themselves over
Yep.
something, or you see
Yep.
people lock themselves out of rooms.
Yep.
It's very good.
Yeah, I've been trying to incorporate functional Fernie in different ways. One way, like I have, everyone's probably going to be annoyed with me saying this, but the first goal with my functional Fernie is to make sure I enjoy it. As selfish as that sounds, but I'm hosting it for a long period of time, multiple times every week. Selfishly, I need to make sure I'm laughing, having a good time. So if one of the reasons for my games is to make sure you jump really high and you fall in, or you screw yourself getting a seat and Fallen Fernie. I remember watching you doing my Fallen Fern, and you hit a trap and you went a different direction. That makes the experience so much more fun for me, which allows me to, okay, now what's next? Okay, I've done the Fallen Fernie style. I've done the chaos races. I've done the other one that's coming out this week is chaos and numbers, which I cannot wait to
Hmm.
see what that looks like on stream. And my goal with functional Fernie is to make it fun, make it like easy to understand as much as possible. But the chaos
Yeah,
races was the first one that I really enjoyed that involved a lot of teamwork. Like you couldn't like sabotaging will naturally happen here and there, which we caught a few Habbos that were doing it. But overall, that game was fun. Like it was just cool just to see people like work together and have a game plan. And I want to see more of that as we progress. If this passes, of course, but that'd be my vision for the future.
I think functional Fernie, what we have now, like I wish I was an EC so I could play with the Fernie.
Mhm.
Because I'd love to just experiment, like spend a couple of hours in a room, kind of experimenting with this Fernie that we have. I think what I think it will pass. I hope it will
Hey,
pass.
don't jinx it now, man. Don't jinx it now. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. No, but Vincent, to be honest with you, I actually have a room that's open with rights with all of the functional Fernie plus some other stuff in there
I
if
did
you ever
see
want
that.
to test it.
Yeah,
But if you ever, between you and I here, like if you personally want a room to yourself with a ton of stuff in there, I'll lock it. I'll put a password in there. Make sure you have rights, and you can go there and knock yourself out and play
that'd be
around with it.
great
And that goes for
because
anyone that's close to me here that wants to have a room and to play around with the Fernie. Feel free. Like no,
I did
like
go
reach
to
out to
your
me.
room
Yeah.
and I just kept getting kicked by this one person, and I was like so
Oh
mad.
really? Oh damn.
Yeah,
Yeah, I told people that I gave rights to be nice, but I think some people got abusive. But I do know that there's that one room where everyone has rights,
yeah,
so I think it's
right.
just a little bit. It's a, you know me. I think every game I have now has the word chaos in it, and I think that's just my life. But yeah, we could take it offline, so that way you and I can make sure you have a room and you can just go in there whenever you want and kind of get used to the Fernie. Because I'd love to see
Oh,
your creativity with functional Fernie. I can't wait to see what you put together in the future, because you are easily very, 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 very talented by far.
I sorry, I lost my train of thought. Um, I think the functional Fernie I think is also it could be a start. It could be the start of like more ideas, and I would love to see like if this does pass for the community to. I mean, I'd love to see something where like people are suggesting ideas and things get voted up, and we have like a couple of core ideas that the community really wants to implement, and then so Mackleby doesn't need to think himself about, okay, what do we want? What do we want? I think there's a core group of like gamers here that can really utilize functional Fernie in a really neat way. And especially like I think this is the case, you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Hmm.
but the whole key to door scenario,
Right.
that can happen across multiple rooms, is that right?
Yeah, correct. So if you have a key in, let's say, room A, and you grab that key and you go room to room to room to room, as long as you're going through teleporters, you'll still have that key with you. And then if there's that door at the end of the tunnel, you can open it right up.
See, that's crazy. I think that opens up so many opportunities.
Oh,
I wish
100%.
you could hold multiple keys. I wish, like, imagine if those keys could go into your backpack.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
or they have
idea.
different like colors or something, or like some way of distinguishing them. So much could happen here. And I was thinking about this last night in terms of the whole wired versus functional Fernie. What is the distinction there? And why do we why I think the Origins audience gravitates towards functional Fernie over wired. And I think the difference here is the user experience.
Yeah.
And if you would let me kind of go through this thought process.
Yeah, yeah.
So for Origins players, we come from OG Habbo. We come from a Habbo that's much simpler, and when we see a teleporter, for example, we recognize it. We know what it does. We see a hollow dice. We know we can double click it and we can roll it. But with wired, you could theoretically step onto a random tile and be teleported somewhere else in the room. You could open a fridge and then a door opens. You could say a certain word and pods appear from in the room, for example. Like the expectation of what you do in that room doesn't match up with the outcome. And I think it's good in some cases, like subverting expectation, where you can create some cool experiences. Like, imagine like being in a Halloween room, and you walk through a gate, and then suddenly, all these like pumpkin lamps like drop down around you, like trapping you. I think that's really cool.
Mm.
But if it happens so often, like it does in Habbo.com, I think we end up being very confused and overwhelmed with what's going on. So I think, given that this new functional Fernie is being rolled out, or hopefully, fingers crossed, being rolled out in a pace in which it is easy for us to understand what everything does by just visually looking at it, I think we can maintain that Origins feel while adding the functionality that I think we desperately need to make game rooms thrive.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. I love that. What's your favorite functional Fernie based on what you've seen so far?
I think all of the door ones.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
less intrigued by the kick one, the what's it, the spotlight, whatever it's
The
called,
eye.
the
Yeah. The
eye.
eye. Yeah.
I think if you could customize that one so it didn't kick you from the room, and it brought you to, let's say, the door, like let's say
Like the
to a
entry.
specific tile. I know that gets a bit more complicated,
Yeah.
but if you could specify where that brought you to, I think that would be fantastic.
That's
But
interesting.
currently, kicking you completely out of the experience means that you need to design around that. But I
Yeah. I
think it's
see.
good that you do have the kickers.
Yeah, I that's my favorite one. I love the eye. That's my favorite. I just love seeing people just, walk in like red light, green light is one of my favorite games. And I just love like people have to watch the eye, watch the light, watch their movement, watch the other players, watch the other traps, and I just the chaos is just so good. But when that eye kicks someone and then they come back to the room, why did you kick me? I
Oh
didn't do
yeah,
this.
yeah.
And I go, guys,
I was
guys, guys, guys. I'm
I
literally
was
live on
just about
stream.
to say that when they come back into the line and they're like, Spider, it was green.
Yeah, it was
Why did you
green.
kick me?
What do you mean I got kicked by an eye? What eye? Well, that light right there. What
Yeah.
light? And then I'm like, right there, the triangle piece. Wait, that kicks people? Yes. Have you been in line watching people? This like, come on. So it's just fun, just seeing people learn about it because as you've noticed in my games, I keep the rules very simple. You know what I mean? Like, here's the objective. Here's what you got to do in order to get that jade gift. And once they understand that, they start learning how to do things. Like, I think the one that impressed me the most is still the chaos races because people have to understand what each of those pieces do. And people are very
Yeah.
lucky I haven't put the eye in there in any place, right? It's a very smooth, smooth experience. Now, along with the functional Fernie, obviously that's goes hand in hand currently being trialed by the event creators program. Now, I do want to
Yeah.
dissect this, and a lot of people in the chat, even the people in the EC program, such as Matthew as well as Dovek, when it comes to this right here, in terms of the EC program itself, Is that something you'd ever want to do in the future? Is that like what's your thoughts on the overall program, the games, the experience, the Jade gifts, the everything in general?
I think obviously there's a need for events in the hotel, especially since the live ops team essentially disappeared around December last year. So I think there is a need for it. I think the current ECs are doing a fantastic job. I I was really bummed when I wasn't asked to be an EC member,
Mm,
and I was because I was like, okay, they've announced. I saw the little article thing. I clicked on it, and I was like scrolling down the list, and I know I wasn't on there because I was never asked. And I was
mm.
scrolling down. I was like, oh, pretty much everyone is here except me, and that's not to toot my own horn, but like I feel like I put on some relatively unique events.
Mm.
Potentially a reason for not asking me at least was because my events I feel like I'm more I don't think they do well at the moment, at least the ones that I've created do well with large audiences, if that makes sense.
Right.
A lot of you guys have like rooms that hold 50 people, and have and go through so many people at once.
Yeah.
And so I think if I were to accept an EC kind of offer, I would need to think about like how do I want to create events that are both like true to like what I love to do, which is game design, but
Mm.
also like fulfill the needs of like what the EC program is functionally supposed to be able to do. Um,
Yeah, I
so
to dissect that a little bit. I
yeah.
think when it comes to the EC program, that I think some people are learning right now that may not have understood it, or some people even watching that haven't understood it, is the scope of work, right? So when it comes to the scope of the games now, we have to build games that can have many people, or at least a good amount of people play at the same time in order to help move that queue. So you're doing a couple things. You're making sure the games are big enough. You're making sure the queue is appropriate for the experience itself, whether you use the widescreen queue or the line in general. And then you also have to find a game that kind of resonates with people. And my games, my number one goal, aside from me trying to enjoy the experience, is can I get a reaction, positive or
Yeah.
negative? Can I get a reaction where I can find out what I should do next time? And if they're getting upset that they're for a valid reason, if they're getting upset because the eye kicked them, then that's perfect. That's exactly what I want from them. But if they're getting upset for a valid reason, okay, cool. How can I change that the next time? It was kind of like my shut the box game. Probably not the best EC game to move the needle a little bit. Honestly, one of my favorite games, but I had to fix the queue, and I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna adjust this the next game, and you start to learn and adapt. And I think, and I'm seeing in the chat here that. Maybe one of these days you should check your DMs in the future. But
No,
when
I
it
know.
comes,
I have a DM from Bab. I
oh,
know
there you
that.
go. There you go. So when it comes to those things, I think that would be a learning curve for you just naturally, just understanding that. And also the other part, aside from actually doing the work, is the emotional part, the mental part, where it's dealing with people in general.
Mm,
You've seen my rooms. You're in a lot of my games due to
yeah.
the times, obviously. And I think when it comes to the emotional landscape that people have, it's a different ball game, right? And it's hard to some people for some people it's hard to cope. With me, everyone sees me stream. I roast every single person. Everyone has seen it. I will roast you on
Yeah.
stream. I don't give two shits. But I'm here to host, have a good time, and then we keep the needle moving. And I think that'd be another thing. But all in all, to be honest with you, you have easily the skill set to be an EC. So although you weren't chosen in the beginning, I wouldn't be shocked if one day you were chosen, because at the end of it, you're a badass person. But more than anything, aside from your skill set, you got a good personality, buddy. Very good personality.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been thinking about it for the last. Okay, for transparency's sake, Bab sent me a message earlier today asking me if I wanted to join the EC program. It had been cleared with Mackleby, and so currently I'm thinking about it, but I appreciate you. I think the mindset thing is also something that like I'm thinking about. Like it's a lot to have. I don't know. So I think Matthew had like 50 people in the stream one time that I joined.
Yep.
Um, it's a lot to deal with. And you have to deal with the alts as well.
Yep.
There's a lot all at once.
There's a lot of pressure, 100%.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of eyes on you, right? Every move you make, you're being watched. Every word you say, you got to watch. Like I don't think people have noticed. I don't talk as much in the rooms or in the discords as much as I used to anymore. Because at the end of
Mm.
it, I don't want to deal with any of that. I'm here to just log in, host my stuff, and get the fuck out. But when it comes to the community, there's always pros and cons when it comes to hosting games in general. So understanding that pressure can be one thing, but I think my best advice for anyone that would ever accept the EC program is to number one, understand the dedication. Understand that if you're in this, you gotta be in it. You gotta keep trying, keep hustling, keep hosting games, keep putting your name out there for the community because it will go such a long way for people. The people will see it, and especially if you do different games, especially with you, I can only imagine the stuff you would pull off. I think it would resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah. I think yeah. I wonder whether because like I say, like with Hidden Treasure, we had 8 people and that game went on for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And so it's a very different type of game that
Correct.
happens in that's required for the EC program, right?
Correct.
Um,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, you need a game so that way people don't just complain and complain and complain. But at the end, there's no pressure in terms of like how many games you can host per month. To be honest with you, the goal is to be creative, is to be one of a kind, to make a name for yourself. You know what I mean? Like Dovak, for example, he's known for his telemazes. He's known for his large, painful experience that he makes people work towards that end. You know what I mean? I do more of my chaos. I love my in games. Plus, I sprinkle in some large events like Squid Game. Right now, you'll find your itch, and then just hold on to that itch. But again, I'm not here. I'm sounding like I'm pressuring you to join the program.
I
You know
feel
what I
like this
mean?
is therapy.
It is therapy, but I
Yeah.
will admit it is a program that isn't perfect by any means. I'll be completely honest. It is not perfect by any means. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. However, it is still in its early stages, which I think is normal. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of cooks in the kitchen, a lot of personalities like myself in there, but I think at the end of the day, I think everyone ultimately has the same goal, and I think that's what teamwork is all about. So as I like to warn people of the facts, but just know that I don't think anyone in the EC program would say no to Vincent. I think they would all say Vincent, although I will say you have to get an account called Vincent EC, and that account name sucks because I hate Spidercides EC, I hate Matthew EC, I hate Boba EC, I hate Dovak EC. I hate that EC ending to all our usernames so much. So that's the only thing that
What do you wish it was?
I wish it was like I wanted Spidey. I wanted just my own username, like
Okay.
something else. Like let me just be something else. You know what I mean? Like no extra letter, because to me it's like a colon. It's like a period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just an extra thing. Like it's just I don't know that, but it's my personal opinion. I was ready to use Spidey because I owned that username, and Dovak owns Dovey, so it was just kind of like
Would have
working
been
out.
Vinci.
Oh, Vinci, there you go, right? So that was my dream, but I know there's reasons for that of why we have that, obviously, because the program name and all that. But yeah, no, I appreciate your feedback in terms of functional Fernie, and we'll see for everyone listening. The poll does go live on March 11. And whether you choose to vote yes or no is totally up to you. But if you don't know about the functional Fernie, I did make a YouTube video. It's about
It's a good
7 to 8
video.
minutes long. There's a long
Yeah.
video that kind of dissects things in a very high level. I don't complicate things. Watch it, make an opinion, and then and go from there. Now, Vincent, I know you had topics, and I know we're around the halfway point of this podcast.
Yeah.
What kind of topics did you want to talk about?
All right. So, there was so. Can we talk about the Quack podcast?
Yeah, of course.
This is the 20th episode of the Quack podcast, and you've like I said, you've done 31 hours of this thing,
Yeah.
and obviously, I don't know if many people know, but I have a little Discord, and there's a small group of us over there. I posed the idea a while ago. I think it was at the end of 2024 about doing a podcast called Origins Unplugged, and so it was in the works for a little while. And then I saw this Quack podcast come out by Spidercides, and I didn't really know you, to be honest, at that point. But listening to all these podcasts, and hearing your opinion across these 19 episodes, I think you just have a very good knack of like relating to the guests, first of all, as well as like making them feel very easy. Like I know it's very nervous coming into like a space like this. We're in front of people on Twitch. We're talking about our opinions about the game, but I think you have a really good knack of making people feel at ease. And it I was like, yeah, I can't compete with Spider on this.
Oh,
Spider's too good at this. But
appreciate
looking at but going through it was kind of like I went through all 19 episodes in the last 3 weeks. I caught a couple of them live when they actually happened, but I was like, I'm quite prepared. I want to get through all of these before I come onto the podcast. And so it was a trip down memory lane. Like you guys talked about the Steam launch for like quite a few months. You talked about Horizons. This new thing is coming to the game called Horizons. You were going to have a podcast with Morgana.
yes, yes,
Um,
you're not wrong. Good memory, very good memory.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You talked about market stalls. I think listening to it, and I agree with so many of the points that you brought up, especially to do with like us talking on this podcast. I think hearing our voices and hearing the intonations that we have when we speak about certain things shows how passionate we are, and it shows so much emotion that having the staff members on that you have had
hmm,
really kind of made me feel connected to the product that they're working on, Habbo. And I would love to hear Mackleby on a podcast one time, and and the communication, like you talked about Vidocs, is that right?
correct. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah. What does that stand for?
Uh, that's a good question. I don't even know. Like video, I don't know actually. I don't know. I have no idea. But
Okay, all right.
but I got it from Bungie. So Bungie created these
Okay,
like videos, where
documentaries or
their
something.
staff exactly like, and essentially it's like a 10-minute video dissecting the game from the developers.
Right. I think something like that would be absolute killer to bringing us all into the process, and we kind of are by the communication that we have with Mackleby on the Discord. But I think it brings it to another level. Like I've been in the gaming space for so long, like just as a player, but also kind of on the other side of it, making games. Um, that connection to your audience is killer to making ambassadors of your game, to creating ambassadors for your game. And so many of these games that I play that I feel very connected to is often because I've followed them through their development process and their devlogs that they put onto YouTube. Every couple months, they release a video. Hey, this is what we've talked. This is what we're bringing into the game. This is what's
Hmm.
happened with the previous features, and hearing their voices. And I know it's scary, kind of, from a developer's point of view, because you're a developer. You don't necessarily sign up to be the mouthpiece of the product, but to be honest, he is, right. He's the
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
the one guy.
Yeah, he's the guy.
He's
Yeah.
the one guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would love to see something like that from Origins, and at least even if it's not an audio video thing, getting more consistent updates in terms of roadmap. And I think we haven't seen a roadmap in quite a while.
Right.
I know a lot of tech products out there, SaaS software, they would often have like a Kanban board, and I don't know if you know what that is, but it's kind of like a sort of a roadmap to tell you what's being worked on, what bugs are going to be fixed
Like a
shortly,
project
what's
tracker.
currently
Yeah.
in.
Hmm.
Yeah, a project tracker.
Hmm.
Even if we have something like that for Origins, and we loosely frame it as like this is the tentative roadmap going forward. Note things can change depending on what happens, whether things maybe there's some emergency with like something needs to be fixed, so things are going to be delayed, but some sort of like buy-in to help us as players believe in this project. And you talked about something to do with Sulaki needs to see us as players, not simply as players, but as clients, and taking our opinion very seriously, but also getting that buy-in. Like we are investing money into this game with the idea that this game is going to last, and that if we don't believe it, we don't put money into it, and then it all rolls down the hill and it all falls over because there's no one putting money back into this game. So I think there's something that needs to happen is I think they need to start to give us that long-term kind of like this is where we're heading, come with us on the journey. We can do it together. And I think the EC program is a fantastic thing that Bab is leading, is pushing. I think the same thing needs to happen for potentially artwork for the game. You talked about battle passes,
Yep.
or even just other cosmetics that we can get into the game because currently I feel like we're chugging along at a slow pace, and I know that's because of lack of resources. And but we don't I don't think that's going to change for a long time considering that Sulaki's up for sale. They're
That's
looking for
right.
a buyer.
Hmm.
And even if someone decides to, let's say, buy it tomorrow, there's going to be a time in which the transfer needs to happen. Once they now have Sulaki, they still need to they need to work through like what do we have here? What decisions need to be made? That could take like 6 to 12 months, right? We're now like 2 years down the track, probably still with Maccleby leading this
Yeah.
thing solo.
True. Hmm. I agree. No,
Um,
I agree with everything that you're saying there. I think when it comes to the future, it's we don't know. We don't know what the plan is or what's being looked at right now. There's a lot of uncertainties. You know, it's it's an interesting thing, but I agree with you. It's in terms of like having Maccleby on, having that voice. You know, I've said it multiple times in all the podcast episodes. Having the developers on a Vidoc, and I just searched it up. It means video documentary, so you were right. When it comes to having their voice in there to connect with the audience, it works and goes such a long way. Like I love the videos OK has done. You know his
mm,
marketing videos. I love it, but I personally no hate towards him at all, because I love the dude. He's awesome. I don't think it's towards the right audience. I
yeah.
think it's not. That is the perfect for modern, in my opinion. That's the perfect ad for that type of audience, for Roblox, for other games. But for ours, we need to connect more on that personal level, and I think that's the biggest miss when it comes to this game. It's there's no connection with the dev side. Obviously there's only one person, but there's no connection on the one side to the community itself. And I know he's in Discord here and there, but it's still not the same because you can't understand tone. You don't know if he's joking, being sarcastic, or being happy. You don't know. Like it's tough to read people at times unless you've heard their voice. And I'm hoping for that in the future because I've always suggested that every gaming company should do one Vidoc, one video, one podcast, an episode, something, at least once every quarter. You have to. You have to connect with that audience or you're going to lose it. They're going to feel like they're not being listened to or overlooked or they don't know what the future holds. So it's yeah, it's a bit of a gray area, so to speak.
Yeah, I think Bab makes a good point in the chat in which working with players is a fantastic idea, but if some of the players in that community aren't particularly good at conducting themselves, so like you don't want to shoot themselves in the foot, right?
Mhm.
Like there's liability here. Um,
There, yes and no. I understand that perspective, but like there is ways to do it. Like when it comes to managing that, it all comes down to having a bit of a group, having the proper forms to be signed. I know NDAs as a topic as well that can be done, but it can work. And having that fear mentality that
yeah,
some companies tend to have, you're never going to be successful then. You're never going to move. Like I've worked for many different corporate companies that handled these risks because that's all it is. It's a risk at the end of it,
mhm,
right? But it's how you understand to overcome those risks and how to prepare is how it goes such a long way. And if you never try to move those needles, then nothing's ever going to happen. Now, I don't want to say that, like, I love the EC program for what it did. I personally am kind of like I'm kind of sad that like people had to get fired in order for something like this to essentially grow into something else, right? I've never been one that like a group needs to leave in order for something to happen, but that's another risk that Sulaki obviously took in order to make that happen, to trust the community even more. But I think they have to push the needle even further than that. And I think another idea I've shared in the past is like having an art creators team. The event creators
mhm,
is a good one, but if we are struggling with art, because Maccabee says he loves my battle pass idea, but there's no artists that can really do it right now. So why not we have a team of 3 people, nice and simple, because they can do all 3 hotels. You don't have to do anything language based. You just find the 3 best talented artists, maybe even 5, for all 3 hotels, and let's have them, do things for the site. Try to tackle things because they're creating stuff I've seen in the Discord just on their free time naturally. That is another risk that I feel like they can take. Now, I will admit that Bab is right. Like having people on the team that maybe don't have the right social media presence is a factor. But if that's an issue, get rid of them. If there is an
yeah,
issue publicly, then you gotta remove them. If there is an issue, if there's toxicity, if there's arguments, if there's problems, and it's apparent, if it's out there, that is definitely giving you a bad publicity for the game itself. So get rid of them. Either get rid of them or give them a warning. Give them a firm stern. Like that's what I would do with my own employees. If they're not doing what they're supposed to and they're stepping out of line, you got to bring them back down to reality and give that talking to. And then if not, then you tell them to pack their bags, right? So I think that's where it comes down to. It's a lot of risk taking, but it's a lot of making sure that things are properly being handled. But again, all comes down to resources. But I guess we'll see what the future holds with that.
yeah.
Maybe
I feel
Vincent's
like
gonna
I
be our
was.
Vincent's gonna be our sugar daddy if he joins the EC team. Who knows?
I feel I think I've gone in waves of like loving Origins and then feeling really kind of not depressed about it, but just like hopeless about it. Like kind of like, oh, it is what it is. Like it will struggle along forever, sort of thing.
Hmm.
But I seeing the passion that people have put into this game does give me hope in terms of you've got all the EC people who are putting on these events for free
Yep.
for the community. You've got Bobber.me, you've got franklyorigins.net. These people putting hours and hours of work into essentially propping up this game that we all love to play, otherwise we wouldn't be here.
Right.
And that's what keeps me going is the people who are dedicated enough or see value in putting their time and their money into this.
Yeah, and it comes with all of that, and that's where the pressure is. And I agree with Bab. Like Bab is mentioning here that it's hard to be an artist because
Mm.
the games are one thing, but having people kind of shit on you for your talent and bully you,
Yeah.
it's a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you, that shouldn't be that shouldn't be a part of the fear that Sulaki has. I think at the end of it, I think the pressure comes with the territory. It's understanding that if you're an artist, not everyone's going to like your work. If you're an EC, not everyone's going to like your games. At the end of it, it's how you condone yourself, it's how you handle the experience, it's how you handle the messaging and overall the public image. And I think that is the core piece about it. All of these what ifs and then like this is going to happen, all of this, all these things, it's already happening nowadays. It's how we address it. And I think sometimes silence kills. And the
Mm.
fact that some things don't get addressed as quickly as they should is another reason that I feel like sometimes you just got to take the risk. Just go up in there and kind of make a statement, And I think we're heading to the right direction because I feel like the community, especially with the start of the EC program, is kind of getting that trust a little bit more. And I feel like we're almost getting to that next step and then next step. But I agree with you. I don't think we'll see major change for next little while, right? At the end of the day.
From a resources perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I do feel. I mean, I don't know whether this is the case, but from my perspective, I do feel there is a. We're on the precipice of like, okay, the EC thing has gone well, from what I know. People are enjoying it. People are enjoying the games. Um, and I think this is one step towards, okay, let's start bringing more of the community into the ecosphere of making this what it needs to be. And I think Maccleby needs help, right? Like when he was off sick for 2 weeks in December, the game the game came to a standstill. No
100%.
one knows what was going on. We were getting the same boxer penguin every day.
That's
Noko
right.
was still here.
Yeah. Even Solaki didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like even the team didn't know they had to reach out, and unfortunately, Dave was unfortunately sick, and that sucks, right? Especially during the holiday. But sometimes there has to be a statement, like someone hopefully on the team knows that Mac will be sick and can say something. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like at least an
there needs
announcement,
to be
right?
there needs to be a statement, and also I think there also needs to be contingency plans. You
Exactly.
need, I think as a corporation, you need to be able to, okay, if this happens for whatever reason, we need to make sure we have content in the back, ready for someone to push out so that we can fill in those slots. Like this is a live service game that people are paying money for. We need to take this seriously. We aren't a startup in 2001 anymore. This is supposed to be something that you're treating us as customers, right?
Hmm. No, I agree with that. I think having a bench in any corporation is such a smart move to have, right? And I think this gave us a good realization that if Maccleby, God forbid, were to leave, right? What would happen,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't seem like like it would seem that we would be in a bit of a standstill for some time period until someone else were to jump in, right? So I think that's where something needs to give at times. And again, I fully have faith in terms of what Maccabee will bring to the table. But love to see that side where we can kind of understand, you know, what's going on, what's going on in that specific instance, and just
Mm.
allowing for the corporation to connect with the audience, because no one wants to have the audience for 2 weeks going what's going
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
like that's too much, right? So hopefully they'll learn from those mistakes, because that's what every corporation should do, and everyone in general should do, is just learn from your mistakes. But I'm definitely curious to see what happens. And I'm seeing Bab here as well. A lot of people are writing. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Matthew, Bab, W. Shout out to everyone here. But yeah, Bab mentions here, the other thing is I feel I can count on one hand the amount of people there is to choose from once you've looked at in-game behavior, Discord attitude, and other social media presence. Pickings are slim. Like staff just wouldn't have to work with people who attack them all day, every day, and rightfully so. Absolutely. 100%. But I do believe that it's all about balance. It's all about trying to find a way to connect with the audience. And as much as you won't satisfy everybody, if the effort is there as much as possible, I think the positive crowd or the people who care will outshine a lot more of the negativity. But I feel like it's a bit one sided right now at different times. But that is just my personal opinion, of course. Vincent, in terms of as we lead into other aspects, what other topics? Because I know you wrote a lot down. What other topics did you want to talk about?
He teased cooking.
Oh, cooking. Okay.
Yeah. So, do you have any feelings about cooking?
Cooking itself, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'll be completely honest. And I know if Maccleby hears this, he's gonna be upset.
You're gonna hate
I,
you hate it.
I don't care. I don't care about cooking. I don't care. I cook at
Can we
home. I don't.
re-roll the tape where Spider said he didn't care about fiction, about gardening?
True. I hope I'm proven wrong. You're not wrong. Good. You are 100% right to call me out on that. But I don't care about cookings. But I'm looking forward to be proven wrong. So we'll see.
I
But
think
yeah.
I saw some sprites were leaked,
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
somewhere, and so we have fruit images from the gardening. So all the things that you have, the pear tree, the blueberry bush, all of those. It seems like you can get them actually as like whether they are ferny items or whether they sit in your backpack.
Hmm.
Seems like you get those from the fruit trees. I think it's fantastic that they are extending gardening beyond where it is currently, right? I think it needs to keep going a bit further. The cooking I'm unsure about.
Hmm.
It seems like we've got like lots of cakes, we've got flour, we've got eggs, we've got sushi, we've got jam.
Hmm.
I don't know how I feel about this. Like uh, are we in a hotel anymore? And I know, like Horizons broke the illusion, right? Like
Right.
the fact that we have a horizon that's like, oh, you're underwater, oh, you're on the moon,
True.
feels like it already broke that. But I'm just intrigued. I'm very intrigued of how cooking is going to work. Are we becoming RuneScape? Is what Faye is saying in chat. Do you feel like we're becoming RuneScape?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like in some ways it's hard to compare the two, obviously, but I do understand the similarities at times. I feel like we do need some skill games in order to, keep people logged in. My issue is it's still all solo driven, you
Yeah.
know? And it's all people just doing their own thing. Like the amount of times I've AFK fished, like I was level 70 and then I gave up. And then once the in room, the fishing hole came into play, now I just leave my Habbo in my room and let him do his thing. You know what I mean? And level
Mm.
up, right? Now, when it comes to that, that's my issue with these skills that are coming in. Is just you, right? Rather than we, like us, And I I personally wanted to see Snowstorm back into the mix, but reimagine, fuck the tournaments, bring in a battle pass, but
Mhm.
bring in community challenges. Like the
Yeah.
community has to reach a goal, like number of snowballs thrown, number of hits, number of games played, all of these aspects where the community is reaching towards something, and maybe it's towards a cosmetic or a rare release or something in general. I want to see more community driven aspects to the game because right now the public spaces are empty, there's nothing going on, and everyone's just in their room fishing or in the
Yeah.
market stall AFK fishing, right? That's all it is,
Right.
right? But that's my thing. I just want to see, like, I'm not trying to knock cooking. Like, I'm sure Dave is thinking about something, and I know it was an idea that was in the Discord, I think by Chica, if I'm not mistaken. And I get it. Like, I understand the purpose of it, but I feel like it's too soon, in my opinion. I feel like
Hmm.
there needs to be other things addressed in the game that are buggy, and I get it. You still have to be enhance new features and bring new things to the game. But in that case, where's the community part of it? Where's the
Yeah.
us? And I'm hoping we see more of that because right now everything is solo based. Like for the most part, it's solo driven. That's all it is.
Yeah. It feels like this is even going to send you more down the solo route.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're cooking a cake and you need to go fish this thing and collect this thing from your plant. Like it doesn't have any sort of like, oh, I need to contact Spider because I need his blueberries. Like that's not a thing that happens here. It's like I can just make my own. I can just grow my own blueberries.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you when gardening first came out, they talked about varieties, and obviously we've got them in as those autumnal ones that came in during the harvest fair.
Yep.
But what I would have loved to see was maybe like, and this was an idea that I was thinking about for a little while. And it might not be great, but imagine if you could like grow flowers, and that like you as an account could grow only a specific type of flower, and then Spider, you grew blue flowers, and then grew purple flowers, and you could like trade them and create like little bouquets that you could give to people. Obviously, or like maybe you had orders that came in, and like customers would need to get like, oh, I want like three tulips and one sunflower as a bouquet. Something like that, like in terms of being able to having to have to trade with other people, I think is something that like I'm interested in as a concept in terms of cooperative play. However,
Mm-hmm.
you always run with this game, you always run into the alt issue.
Yep.
What's to stop someone from like opening up five accounts and having them all farming these flowers because they can't get the ones that they need on their account? It's the same
True.
thing that we came up to with the treasure maps, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
100%.
how you solve that. I think it's obviously an issue.
Yeah, it's something that I don't know will ever be solved in terms of like alts and like people trying to take advantage because in any game for decades, everyone will always try to
Mm,
find the easiest route. However, I do believe there needs to be a way to figure out some sort of solution, whether alts come into play or not. Maybe just make sure the rewards are non-tradable, or or maybe cosmetic based. That way, it doesn't feel like they're gaining something out of it, or they're gonna trade it to something else. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's true. If it's
Right?
cosmetic based, why would you want that cosmetic on an alt and not your
Exactly.
main account? Yeah.
Exactly, right? Like, let's say the EC events had no Jade gifts. Would we see alts in there trying to get a badge and a nameplate? I'd probably say no, right?
Yeah.
That's where my head is at. Like, where when it comes to these skill activities, if we are worried about alts and that's why we don't have community driven games, then let's just do cosmetics. And that's what I suggested with Snowstorm, right? I
Mm.
suggested a battle pass where as you roll up and earn XP or earn whatever, you can maybe earn currency to spend in the store for non-tradable items. And let's say you're earning and getting cosmetics as well. And maybe there's community challenges that, I don't know, do something. Or maybe there's a community day where every snowball, like for every three snowball hits you get, your Habbo runs three times faster. Whatever, like cool shit that happens, right?
Yeah.
I just want to see more creative side for that aspect, but again, I know I'm not excited for cooking. I think it's just the word cooking. I don't know. Like I cook at home. Like I
I
don't
hear
want
the
to.
disdain in your voice. You're like cooking.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Cooking.
Like what? But anyways, I'm looking forward to be proven and wrong and seeing. But I do miss Snowstorm, and I've brought that up a few times. But I don't want to see another Battle Ball tournament ever. I think it's poorly managed in every way, and I think people just find a way to take advantage of it. And I think we should turn Battle Ball into a no tournament based activity, purely cosmetic, and just earn like have challenges, kind of have like the daily challenges, but like have bigger challenges along with community challenges to earn stuff from Battle Ball. That's where my
I
head
think
is
the
at.
rewards. I think the rewards need to be upped for. I like currently we've got multiple modes of Battle Ball, right?
Yep.
Have you played any of them? Because I never find anyone to play
I played
these modes
one.
with.
I was on stream and people were asking, and I played one. I don't find them exciting
Okay.
personally. Um, it doesn't. I don't go, oh yeah, I want to do this. You know,
Yeah.
like that. It doesn't excite me at all because there's no it doesn't feel like to me. It just still feels buggy. I like it's just weird. Like I finish a game and I go, how did I get that many points? Wait, how did that happen? And I get confused. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand the results of the battle ball game, so I just sit back and I go, you know what? It's not my cup of tea, you know. And I think I also have PTSD from all the tournaments, so I choose not to to explore anymore in that area, to be honest. But I'd love to see just us having a cosmetics like the bouncer, maybe as you know how you have right now the crocodile platform uh, on your
Yeah.
character. Imagine having like a battle ball seat, you know, like the
Yeah.
ball. That'd be kind of cool. Like it'd be cool to just earn shit like that. And I don't know. I like cosmetics because that's the first thing we recognize. And I think we should have more badges in the game too, because we only show one anyways. We should have more. We should have like people just will show what they want, right? It'd be exciting just to see some more I don't know, more design elements in that aspect.
With Snowstorm, do you what I haven't played Snowstorm in so long, so I can't remember how it was like. But will it not go the same way that Battle Ball did? Everyone plays it for like 2 weeks, and then people drop off, and they're like, okay, the novelty has worn off.
Only if you that's why I suggested the battle pass. If you have a
Right.
long enough
Okay.
battle pass that gives you a chase as well as
Yeah.
a store like the fishing store where you have other items in there that you know you have to buy with a currency, I can see people working towards stuff because people are still fishing and getting those items because those items are actually pretty cool, right? Like they're actually really nice and they can enhance the room a little bit. If we had that in Snowstorm, like you know
I
snow
agree.
walls or whatever, I could think I
Yeah.
don't know, I think it'd be fun.
I think tying those untradeable Fernie to Snowstorm would be fantastic.
Hmm.
I think that would get me playing.
That would get me playing. I would be like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's go do it. I want to build a room because winter's around the corner and I know there's going to be a room competition. So I want to get these items or whatever, right? Like I, I feel like, yeah, I personally feel like it'd be fun to just see people get excited and work towards things. And I wouldn't see any alts in there because people wouldn't be able to trade the items anyways, right? So,
Mhm. I wouldn't mind a paid line of battle pass as well.
yeah, I agree.
Having the free rewards, but then every second one is like locked behind a pay one or something.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, 100%. I'd be down for
Yeah.
that. All the games, all the other, like so many games do that already. And they hook me, so they take my money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, especially, I mean, I feel like I play Marvel Snap, which is
oh
a
yeah, yeah,
card game,
yeah.
and especially if at the start of the month I'm like, okay, I'm in. I love this. I love the theme. I don't know, they're doing Fantastic Four, and I love Fantastic Four,
Hmm.
and I want to buy in essentially. I pay for the season pass. And like that month, I'm locked in. Like because I've already invested my money, I'm like I need to like get all the rewards from this as much as possible. Um, and I feel like that could happen with Snowstorm
Yeah,
if they did some sort of battle pass.
I agree. Like Dave likes the idea. He just needs artists, which is why I suggested, okay, let's have an art creators team then.
Yeah.
People just submit their I like kind of like an EC team, but just for artwork. Because if you need the help, because clearly they needed the help with live ops and games and in-game activities, then let's take the risk and let's trust having you know a couple creators that can support art. Don't choose too many. I think the
Mhm.
EC team, in my opinion, is very large, and I think we have a ton of people in that group. Um, I think for the art team, I don't think you need that many because you know maybe put Goob in there obviously because she's already doing art anyways, and anyone else who wants to be a part of it, and then get people tackling different things like a battle pass, like Fernie and whatever, and then I don't know, get people more involved if you need the help. Don't let it drag on essentially.
Yeah, I think it's wasted potential to let such a dedicated fan base, dedicated player base, kind of not accept their help, if that makes sense. Like we're here. like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you guys are committing your time and your energy into creating these events. Like we're here and we want to see this game thrive.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, the other
yeah.
idea I had was like I know we have a lot of fan sites. There's Bubba.me, there's Frankly Now, there's Rock Habbo, there's Ducky World. Fuck, if I'm missing any other, Habbo Gardening, Habbo Fishing. There's so many great sites out here right now, and even yours upcoming, the Fernie Index, right? There's so many
Yeah.
sites that are being put together, and I suggested to staff that we should have a fan site program if we're worried about bandwidth and resources. I literally I can't say what I do for a living because of the corporation I work for, but in terms of like the things I do, I'll do it for you. I'll run it. It's all good. I don't even need your help. Just give the groups, if the fan site badge is a thing, give the groups their fan site badge. Let's understand what they're allowed to do, and then boom, like I would run it for them. Like no worries at all,
Yeah.
right?
What do they
Let's
say to that?
they don't have the. I think they ignored the part about me wanting. I don't think they like spiders. I think they're afraid of
Okay.
spiders. But I think only one of them knows the corporation I work for, and it should give them an idea that like just trust. Like there's a lot of people in this community that have high skills. Like
Yeah.
their skill set is really up there, especially in places that they work for, and we can kind of use that to our advantage to help a game like this, right? So I was just like, you know what, let me offer my resources, let me offer my support, happy to help, happy to get there because people want it. But no, they basically they said that they've been thinking about a fan site program, but they just don't have the resources, and I think they've said that multiple times in the past too. So nothing's changed since the time from a year and a half to 2 years ago, anyways. Because I know this has been a topic for since the beginning of time. Because there was way more sites in the beginning. Trader Club was
Yeah.
a big thing, and so forth, right? So I know
It,
it's always been a hot topic.
yeah. I mean, even having them listed somewhere, like how do people find out about these fan sites if they're not in the Discord? Like all these, I don't know how many Steam users we have, but like I don't think that any of that is like on the Steam page at all.
True.
Like you have to kind of dig to find out. Oh, there are fan sites that help you see where you are on the fishing leaderboard,
Hmm.
or even like your. I feel like your stacking tutorials, are they somewhere on the visible anywhere? You have to kind of
True.
actively know that they exist to search them out.
True. That's a valid point.
And
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
There's none of that publicity for those specific sites, which might be something that they don't want to take the risk on, which again they
that's true.
should.
Yeah.
That could be another aspect, but I believe the fan site program was such a core memory of our early generation that I
Mm,
feel like it could be something that we can do there. Um, but I know when it comes to some of the things, it varies, right? I think we have to go hand in hand to create those guides, as Matthew's mentioning there. Like, there's one guide I have in there, and then I just upload my videos, but it's not very easy for people to just like know that it's there. And I see where you're getting at. There's not a one-stop shop, so to speak, right? And I do believe that there could be a little bit more support just to provide that synergy between the people developing the sites and then of course the origins website, right? Like for example, like what you mentioned with the fishing level, the only way to
mm,
find out your fishing level is one of two ways. Number one, going into the info bus or one of those fishing rooms and double clicking the stand, or number two, or the sign, I mean, or number two, going to someone's website,
yeah.
right? And that is that there's a bit of there's something going on here. That there needs to be a bit of a link, right? So yeah, I agree. I think something has to give again and again. It all comes down to resources, but to be honest, take risks. Like if they don't like spiders, then let someone else do it. Let someone else take over that they if they feel like they trust more, and have them run something if they're willing to, and let them use their own resources, and make it happen. Manage the teams, and then go from there.
Yeah. I can I talk a bit about Fernie Index?
Sure, let's do it. And I think this will
Yeah.
be our end topic. For anyone
Last
listening,
topic. Yeah.
we're gonna do. I have my EC game in about 13 minutes or so.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I definitely
I'll be
wanted to
quick.
talk about. No, no, no worries. I will. I definitely want to talk about the Fernie Index, and I'm so excited. But yeah, go for it.
Right. So this whole thing kind of came up because I have a huge like passionate thing about history, and I used to love browsing the Habbox wiki, and that's very extensive, and you can learn about so much about the history of Habbo. And so coming into Origins, I wanted to create some sort of fan site, but I wanted to have it more as a evergreen sort of like database sort of thing.
Hmm.
And so very early on, there was, I think it was called Origins Wiki, was starting to catalog all the Fernie. And I was watching that happen. And then I started working on my own. Origins Wiki, I think, closed down. And I decided to pick it up. Well, not from there, pick up the idea, I guess.
Right.
And alongside Hustle, who is a Mazer, a good friend of mine, we've come together and put together Fernie Index, which is accessible at fernieindex.com. We have launched it today.
Ooh,
So if
let's
you go to
go.
fernieindex.com, there is roughly 430 Fernie currently in that database
Wow.
that you can search through.
Let's fucking go.
Um, not all, not even all the Funky Friday is in. I'm manually adding each of these things by myself with the help of Clayton, URT. We are manually adding this one by one, getting all the images, making sure that all the information is filled in. So whether a Habbo can sit on it, whether a Habbo can lay on it, whether it's a gate, whether it's a teleporter, a market stall, we're adding colors to all of them. So you can search up
Oh yes.
um, you can search up green, and then it'll bring up all the green Fernie. You can then filter it by Habbo, sit colon yes, and they'll bring through all your green seats. We can also, I've also tagged everything that is plant related with plants, anything lighting related with lighting. Also,
Amazing.
inspired by an interview that you did with Cassandra,
Hmm.
we're also adding, if we know the Fernie artist, we're adding their usernames in there as well. So if you
Let's
search for
go.
Goob, all the frost frame stuff will show up. I need to
Amazing.
put in Cassandra in there for like the typewriter, all the HC rares for Gen 1, all the Lodge Fernie. I hope that this is going to be a good resource for not only new players, because I think a lot of new players come into the game and they see the Noco Pink Blossom ICM and they're like, what is that? Where did this come from? And if they could go to fernieindex.com, look it up, see that it was from a Noco rare in September 2025. I don't know if that's correct. And learn what requirements Noco asked for that rare, or seeing. I think there's a lot of knowledge that's kind of like we know because we've been part of it, but for a new player, all the Fernie stuff, I think they're like they see something, they're like, I didn't even know this was in the game. When was this released? What
Amazing.
cost was this released for? So yeah, this is a project that is has taken up so much of my time, but I'm happy to finally kind of soft launch it. Not all the Fernies in there. It will be added over the next couple months when I get round to it.
Amazing. And I do want to add there for all my EC team members, you're
Yeah.
welcome because I asked a favor to Vincent and Vincent said, "Fuck you, Spider." And then I asked him again, and then he said, "All right, I'll do it." And we have the Fernie IDs. The thing that we use to order our Fernie items is found for every single Fernie that's on the website. You just click on any of the Fernie, you'll see it at the very top. It's next to the title of the Fernie item. In other words, you're welcome. So it's gonna be awesome. And honestly, Vincent, this we're nearing the end of our podcast episode, but I definitely want to say that man, it was so badass talking to you, buddy. Like the amount of
It,
topics, and I'm sure there's so much more, but there is one
this,
more
yeah.
thing. There's one more thing I do want to touch on. This one more
Yeah. Go
thing
on.
is I need to know with a couple minutes remaining, I need to know
Yeah.
out of all the 19 episodes, your top three. I gotta know.
All right. Top three. All right. All right. So number one would be Eventual. I don't know the
Nice.
guy, but your conversation was just very. It was very mature. It was very insightful about both of your opinions and coming at this game from a very knowledgeable point of view. I thought your conversation was very sound, and I don't know Eventual. I'd like to know him. I'm now part of his fan club as well as Spider's fan club. I thought that was very good. If you want to listen, Eventuals. I don't know what episode that is. Oops, sorry. I don't know what episode that is. But search it up. Second place. I don't know why I'm doing second place. Next place is Inks.
Oh, nice.
I
Good
love
choice.
it's a bit of a throwback back to the start of this, I think episode 3 or something, with her birthday and coming up to the 1 year anniversary. I thought his thoughts were very insightful, given that also he's coming from a game developer's perspective. I thought that was very valuable. Third, I would say is probably Sir Jonas.
Oh, that was a
I
good
love
one.
how
Yeah.
collaborative he is with talking with you about like just like working out, hey, how could this look in Origins? What could we do here? And hearing his history was fantastic. I'm gonna squeeze in a fourth, which is
Okay.
Samra's,
Oh
because
yeah.
that one is I think is that one's special because it throws you back to like a different side of Habbo that we don't often think about, which is the art side of Habbo.
Yeah.
And hearing about like him and like how touched he was to see that this game now has come back to life and all his old work is now
Mhm.
being used by us as players was really cool to hear. So I'd say those four would be the top Quack podcasts
Great,
that
great
one should
choices.
listen to.
Great choices, man. Kiss Samura is a sweet spot for sure. All those ones that you chose were amazing, and the best part with Kiss Samura as well. Like not everyone like we're doing a voice call, obviously you and I, but I did a video call with him and just kind of growing up and seeing all the artwork and kind of just feeling that emotion. You know what I mean? There were definitely some like teary moments. I gotta admit, like in
Yeah,
terms of kind of like, and you could probably hear it in his voice like during the
yeah.
podcast, and it was cool to see someone so passionate about the game. And like I said, I again, no pressure for Maccabee to be on the podcast, but I do think it's such a huge miss not being on it because that moment right there, I felt so connected to the artist side of things. Like I suck at pixel art. The best I can do is chocolate chip cookies, and when it comes to that side, I was just like, damn, like this is dope. Like I'm hearing this guy throw his heart on the table and like feel like my feedback, but share his feedback, and we're kind of like just feeding off of memories, and it was I don't know that
From
connection is
25 years ago as well.
yeah right like it's
Like I,
you
I don't
can't
know
get
what he
that through
looked like, but
Discord. Yeah.
I don't know what he looked like, but I imagined listening to that podcast. I was like, this feels like it feels like an older man who's now reflecting on his childhood.
Yeah, right. It's it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. But no, Vincent, I appreciate you sharing your top four. Honestly, everyone that has been on the podcast, I can't believe we're over 31. This is gonna be over 32 hours of podcast episodes. Tons of great people. You included, Vincent. Vincent, before we end it off, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere you can find me. I'm Vincent Leet, Leet.
That's amazing. And he also has an OnlyFans. So anywhere at all, you can find him on something. I'm just kidding.
Go find me on
um,
TikTok.
the TikTok as well. But no, Vincent does stream, everyone. I do lurk on his streams. He does art. He hosts Hidden Treasure. His item from Christmas is in the game. I think it's called Christmas's Judgment. No,
Yeah,
sorry,
people hate it. How
Santa's
tall
Judgment.
it is.
It is pretty tall. They're not wrong. But I saw the effort and I watched that whole stream and I thought it was fucking awesome. But at the end of it, Vincent, honestly, man, thank you so much for taking the time to actually come here and speak with me. I know it can be a little bit nerve wracking in the beginning, but I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts, sharing your opinions, because that's never easy. And I honestly appreciate the conversation we have, and I hope to do this again in the future with you. It was a
Yeah.
real pleasure, and I honestly I consider you a friend, and yeah, man, I hope to see you a part of our dark side maybe in the future, and most importantly, I wish you nothing but the best, buddy.
All right, we'll talk again soon.
Sounds good. All right, everyone, say bye to Vincent. In terms of the podcast here, we're going to end it off right here. That is the 20th episode. Be sure to hit that follow, hit that like, do all that good stuff. We're going to jump over to the EC game. If you're watching this recording afterwards, obviously there's no EC game right now. It's for all the people that's alive right here. But we have about 2 minutes to log into the game. We're going to close things here, hit an outro, and then we're going to flip over to the game. So get ready, get excited, but most importantly, thank you so much for sticking around and supporting us. And as always, we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.